Hey folks, thanks for stopping by. This week's project is a pencil pot, but we're going to be doing it with Stave construction from teak scraps. Stick around, we'll get started. A couple weeks ago, a coworker of mine asked if I was interested in a teak shower mat that he had. It had developed a crack and he was going to replace it, so I said, sure. When he brought it to me, the only things that I could salvage from it were these small pieces of teak. They're not quite thick enough for a pen blank, so I figured I'd have a hard time finding a project to use them on, but hey, it's teak, and I never pass up free wood, especially when it's good. So what I did to get ready for this week's project is trim them all to the same width. Then I set my table saw to 15 degrees and cut an angle on each side. We're going to be doing a 12-sided piece, and 360 divided by 12 is 30, and 30 divided by 2, one for each side, is 15 degrees. So 15-degree angle on each of these pieces. I then took 12 of those and glued them together into a rough cylinder. So this is going to be the blank for our turning. What we'll do is turn the outside down, drill out the inside so it's smooth, flip it around, do the same to the other end, and then we'll work on flattening up the end and gluing on a base for the bottom and a ring for the top. Let's get over to the lathe and get started. It just so happens that I had a jam chuck that was about the size of the interior of the glued up blank, which is fortunate, because otherwise I would have had to mount a smaller set of jaws on my chuck and expand it in recess mode. On this end, I have a large tapered cone that fits on my live center. I've applied just enough pressure on it to keep it steady without potentially cutting it apart and spreading it out. So let me gear up, and I'll turn the outside around and face off this end as much as I can. What I'll probably do is also put a small tenon on each end of this. Maybe. We'll see. Let me get going. So unfortunately, I don't have a set of jaws that perfectly matches this tenon. I really don't like having to do this where the jaws don't touch all the way around the piece that you're trying to grip, but unfortunately I'm kind of in a Goldilocks zone where it doesn't work. This one doesn't work and that one doesn't work, and none of them work really well. So this will do for now. What I'm going to do next is glue on a scrap piece of wood that I've got for the base, and let me grab it. It is a piece of tiger wood from a different project. So what I'm going to do is hold it on the tailstock, put some glue on the surface, and use the tailstock to add some pressure, and glue it up. And then once that's done, I'll cut a recess on the bottom of this that matches these jaws, so that when I flip it around to hollow the inside, I won't have the same problem that I did here. So let me grab some glue and we'll get that put in place. Okay, I'm going to let it dry and I'll be back. Okay, so that's had about 12 hours to dry. So let me give it a little bit of a profile, maybe kind of like an OG shape, and then we'll put a recess in the bottom for the proper size chuck jaws. Slight change of plan. I thought I had a drill bit that would cover that distance, but I don't. It's just a little bit too big. And I've got a much larger drill bit that I used, if you remember the video about the mason jar lids, but that's 2-wire. That only leaves a real small wall. So I think what I'm going to do is cut this tenon off, flatten it, and round it over. Always be ready to change your plans. I'll see if I can just round this over rather than have to take off the whole tenon. Well, as you can see, that is that. Thanks for sticking with me. If it's your first time here, please sure to subscribe, share, comment, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Take care.